been so strange because most of the stuff you're seeing, we shot virtually a year ago. So, so trying to remember some of it's a bit difficult, but I'll try my best.
Okay.
I had
We're
that thought the
excited.
other day too, just because it's been so long since everybody's worked on it. And then seeing all the things that couldn't exist during the time when you're filming has to be
Right.
mind blowing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And, what we did, how we did it in COVID was just unbelievable.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it was, it
unreal.
was, it was, look, it was already a challenge this year. I mean, Seth gave us virtually 10 feature film scripts to shoot. So it
Yeah.
was already a challenge. And then throw COVID on top of that, that would just made, was the icing on the cake. But what really helped it is the fact that Seth and I were directing all of them. So basically it was an in-house gig, and on any given day we'd be shooting from any given episode. Whatever was available became the way we shot it after we came back from COVID. And so it was just any episode, any day is how we shot it. It came together pretty well considering we shot it that way.
I would say so.
Yeah, that actually goes right into the first question that I had for you, which is that it had to be kind of a Herculean task of being one of two directors for an entire season. I know that traditionally different directors will take like one episode here and one episode there so they have enough time to get ready for those episodes. But what was this experience like for you when you were basically one of two?
Well, I'm a little bit used to it because on 24, I used to do, 10 out of 24 episodes. So I used to do almost half every year. I did that for 7 years in a row, and then still was a producer director. So I'm kind of used to when I did the Kennedys, I did all 8 episodes of the Kennedys. I'm used to it in a way. This was a little more difficult because of the way like I said, when we came back from COVID, and on top of that, I had 3 pregnant actresses, believe it or not. So scheduling around them became a real,
Wow.
like Jessica, who, had that big fight scene in episode 2. That was like on the very last week of shooting because she had
Wow.
to have the baby, have her time off, and then get in shape to do that fight. So it was virtually the last week of shooting, even though it was episode 2.
It's unreal.
So that that was a big part of it, and because there were only 2 of us, it was great because otherwise you'd have this directors coming and going. I think more TV is moving into less directors, anyways. I think the director on every episode was kind of in the world of television shows that didn't continue and didn't have the kind of storylines we have now. So I'm used to it, and I kind of like it. I like being involved in as many episodes as I can. It's easier for me than sitting over someone's shoulder and just watching them. That's tough for me.
So in the episode Gently Falling Rain, and to be fair, every episode this season has been visually awe-inspiring. So when diving into an episode like this, starting from scratch and then working through the episode that we end up seeing, how do you inspire actors to interact with the environment and get all those little details that get added in post-production?
Well, I think in one way it's easier for us because it's really there. I think the difficult part is when you're dealing with nothing but green screen. That becomes a little more difficult for actors to find something concrete to sort of grab onto. So I think from our point of view, when I was set, one of the first things he told me, he said, "Look, I've written this episode and it's on Krill, and I don't want it to be all CG. I want to build a Krill street, like a full Krill street." And I was like, okay, that'd be great. So again, for the actors, it's awesome because it's all there. You're not imagining what 100 Krill people walking around are. You're actually in amongst 100 Krill people walking around. So that was the plus for us, I think, on a lot of this. Amazingly enough, just out of weird coincidence, we virtually built the Krill Street on the old 24 stage
Oh,
where I
wow.
shot it for 7 years. Yeah, it was a very strange coincidence. So some kind of karma in there somewhere. But yeah, and that was one where Seth really wanted to go out on a limb and say, look, I want to see all these krill and I want to be in their world. I don't want a CG version of it. Obviously we did CG above the street, all that stuff flying around and all the tall buildings, but the actual street was all there. It's exactly what you saw is what we did. So it was a little easier for the actors to interact with all of that. Very easy. And even Talea doing that speech, she had 100 krill right underneath her cheering her on. So you could tell that the energy was just, she did such a great job with that
Yeah,
scene. Just an amazing job.
it's incredible. So there have been some details shared online about the cabin scene and the setup for the whole Dolly Parton simulator piece. including the fact that the cabin was moved to Nashville to shoot part of it with Dolly. To the best of your memory, can you take us through a little bit of what that process was like of shooting it in one place and then another?
Well, it's funny because I'd done it before, and quite honestly, even on 24, I remember we had this one scene on 24 where Jack Bauer like gets out of a vehicle, goes into one place, comes on and it was like virtually on 6 different locations on 6 different days, and the whole thing was a minute of screen time. Jeez. And it looked like it was all together. So most filmmakers are used to that, and basically, when Seth finally came up with the great news, because it was in the script for the longest time, and we kept going, do we have Dolly? Are we really doing Dolly? And so it was like, not yet. We haven't got her yet. So, and I virtually thought it would go away eventually. And then one day said, we got her. And he said, but here we are in the middle of COVID. It was sort of right in the middle of the most dangerous part of it. There was no way she was getting on a plane. And then she was like, I want to do it all here in she's got her own studios, obviously. And so it was her studios and her film crew. But again, part of our show and part of the visual of our show is our director of photography, Jeff McGadden, our camera operators and our lighting crew and all of that. So that became a problem, which was, no, I need those people to make it look the same. I can't just go there and just use her people. So the solution for that was, let's build a cabin. Let's light it. Let's get doubles in there and light it, have all the marks on the ground, know where all the lights go, send them a detailed plan of the lighting. So, and even with the names of the lights and what power to put them at, so they can light it the exact same way. And that way we kind of ensure that the visual look is the same, because it was only 4 of us that went, Kiefer and I, Rena, who plays Havina, and then a makeup artist to do her makeup. 4 of us jumped on a private plane one night, got there at night, 8:00 in the morning, we were shooting Dolly. By noon, we were back on the plane on the way to LA. So Jeez. It was less than 24 hours, this whole adventure. And of course, we sent people before that with the set, and they had it all set up. It was all lit and ready to go. And, again, Dolly didn't have that much time. So that's why we came back and shot the rest of it with Rena back in LA. That's why we did sort of half and half. But it was nice to have Rena there because it was great for Dolly to interact with her. And then at one point, they both started talking about that she was actually from a mountain village too. So was Rena, so was Dolly. And I had to virtually stop them at one point and go, okay, guys, we got to shoot this. So they connected right away. So there was a magical sort of connection instantly with these 2 mountain girls. So that was the cool part of it. And then she was just fantastic. She just knew her lines, knew it all, made some suggestions, put some comedy elements in it, which Seth loved right away, and then sang us a song. It was fantastic. And we got on a plane, and the next morning you blinked and went, wait, did that happen? That was so quick. The whole thing was so quick. But we knew also it was going to be a fan favorite. I mean, we knew that, and trying to keep the secret for virtually a year was a really tough thing to do. We were all sitting on all these pictures that we were dying to show people and show our families, but no one did because we didn't want to get it out there. So it ended up being a great surprise for everybody.
I feel like you already kind of answered this, but you've had a lot of incredible guest stars on the Orville just in general. But is it really, well, you pretty much said it's surreal to get to direct somebody like Dolly Parton.
Sure. Bruce, Bruce, who played the president, Bachleiner. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, watch him all my life. One of my favorite sci-fi actors, and then I get to direct him. I mean, what a pleasure, and so many more. I mean, and what the fun thing about all of them is, they come in and they're ready to go. I mean, they love the show, and most of them know Seth, personally, and so that's a big part of it. And then we just have fun when they come on. It's great. And they're all into it. I mean, they come in at 100%. There's no like, I'm just doing a small sci-fi show. They're quite into it. And some of them like Jason Alexander in full makeup, and you just keep going. I kind of worked with Jason Alexander, but I kind of worked with them, but not really. So it was kind of interesting.
There's obviously been a lot of sets that are redesigned for this season. Did you have a hand in any of those decisions to help alleviate maybe some of the shooting issues that you ran into in the past?
Well, when we do sets, yeah. I mean, the refit of the Orville was just something that Seth wanted to do, and just thought it was time to kind of do a whole upgrade. Same with the uniforms. We just had a great sort of wardrobe designer that just really upgraded the uniforms for us. So all around, it was just a total upgrade. New director of photography, so the look is a little different. We actually, I don't know if you noticed, we went a little more widescreen than we were before. Got a little more film-like. So yeah, it was just a total upgrade. But yeah, I'm involved in, every time we're building a new set that needs to be shot, or even a location for that matter. Yeah, I'm involved obviously right away with the production design, and where you're going to give me space to put cameras, what we want the look to be, where the lights are going to be, all that kind of stuff. I'm always involved in. Yeah.
I'm curious if there's any particular storylines that get you really excited to film, like if they're ship-centric or away missions or Krill-based or Kalon-based. Is there something you read on the page and you just get like so excited you get to direct it?
Well, think about the shows you've seen this year and imagine reading them and thinking, wow, I get to shoot this. I mean, so all around it was exciting the whole time. But my only place I'm going to tell you I don't exactly love, but everyone knows this because I complain about it all the time, is the bridge. The bridge is one of the hardest things for us to do. It's a tough one because everyone's just sitting there virtually for 12 hours, and some people, all you're doing is seeing their back. So it's hard on the actors. There's just a lot of angles to cover. So that's a tough one for me. Anytime we're going away anywhere, anytime we're doing another planet, those are exciting. Those are exciting to do. The Krill Street was just beyond belief what we had there. And, we even had, we made a little golf cart that looked like a car and just kind of zipped through back and forth. We didn't see it in detail, but it was enough to have something moving. So all of that was pretty exciting to do all that. And then it was fun even just shooting in a high school because we hadn't done that before. So just watching Bordas walk down a high school hallway and going into a classroom. So all of that was good. And for me, what excites me is a good story. And I've got to tell you, I was never disappointed. I think I opened every script, and by the time I ended it was like, oh my God, what an incredible story. And that's what definitely Seth and Brandon and his writing crew and Goodman. I mean, they're just so good at it. And they've just been in sci-fi for so long and just really knew. I think by the third season, they really have a handle on this show and the world of the Orville, and really took it all right to the very edge and limit. And there's still 2 episodes to go. There's still a lot coming your way. Put it that way.
Excited. I think I know the answer to this already, but listeners of the show will know why I have to ask it. And that's, what's with everyone standing up in the shuttles behind the front 2 seats?
Oh my God, not this again.
Is this the thing that comes up a lot?
Well, no, lately it has. Online, it's a big conversation online. It's very funny. And you know what I just say? I just say it's a choice. I don't know how to answer that question, but it's a choice. I think part of it is just Seth wants people to be present and right up there, as opposed to sitting in the seats. So I think it's just one of those things that we do. We don't have to, but we do.
I absolutely love the horror aspect of Shadow Realms this season because I'm a big horror fan. Did you enjoy
a horror movie?
Oh, it was so good. Did you enjoy directing those 10 scary sequences? Is there a different process that you needed to employ to film that specific episode?
Well, I see a lot of movies, period, but I've seen so many horror movies. So it was fun to actually play some of those things that you see in the shadows and the quick, glances across screen and all of that kind of stuff was great. Now, I don't know if you know the story of this, but those creatures were designed for, I'm trying to remember the episode. Oh, it's actually the episode with the one that I shot with Seth and Talea when they go off on their date and they got caught by the krill, the Chukta. It was supposed to be that creature was designed for that, but the design was so fantastic that we thought, oh, we can't waste it on this because those guys, the species that we did use, we're only in a couple of scenes. They attacked the krill and they have that fight on the planet, and that was it. We thought these guys are so scary. Let's just write a whole episode for them. And so that's how that developed, basically. So that was actually written, and it was written for last season, for season 2. And we just somehow never got around to shooting it. I can't remember why, but we never got to shoot it. So then we just transferred it over to season 3. So then that became season 3. Virtually the makeup guys made the day on that one. It was just so good what they did and how scary they were. We're just like, oh my God, these guys need a whole episode for these guys. We can't waste him on a couple of scenes. So that's how that came about. So yeah, it was said look, we got a horror movie to do. It's just an all-out horror movie. We'll knock the lights out on the bridge, so we have that sort of dart, not the bridge, the whole ship. And the ship looks great dark. I just love the dark. I remember telling Seth on one of the episodes from season 1 where they knocked the lights out. I said, man, that's a great look. We got to have an excuse to have that dark look in the ship, and we did. So yeah, it was a total horror movie. It was really fun to do. And then I had the kids too. So the kids were, it's always great to have a horror movie with kids.
Oh yeah.
And poor guy, like he couldn't get close to those guys. He was like trying to suit. He's like, yeah, it's okay. I'll just be back here.
Oh.
I want to go near that.
Adorable. Yeah, I loved that episode. And I have to ask this, and I'm sure it's not the first time you've gotten this. Is Nurse Park okay?
I don't know what happened to Nurse Park. Everyone's got the Nurse Park thing out there now. We're gonna have to find out. Maybe if you give us to season 4, we'll answer the Nurse Park question. I'll get Seth to answer the Nurse Park question. Well, I guess he became one of those guys, but the problem, the thing is, we don't know what happened to them after they left the ship. Where they went, and so that could be another season 4 storyline too.
Yep, I'm down for this. Renew the Orville.
Renew, yeah. Well, thank you so much for keeping our Nurse Park hope alive. And
yes, keep it alive. I love that he even has a fan base. I think that's fantastic.
It's always an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Yes, I hope so too. Thanks, Rob and Katie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.